Under the scorching sun of New South Wales, Tom arrives at Aunt Selena's small house for a rest, only to find himself swept up in an unexpected wild boar hunt. Here, wild boars are not just a danger to humans and livestock but also the #1 enemy of the fertile fields. So, alongside Aunt Selena's neighbors, he joins a thrilling hunting expedition to protect the crops for the local farmers. At the crack of dawn, Tom hops into the truck with local farmers, heading straight for the fields. Early morning is when the wild boars wreak the most havoc. Right away, they drive after the boars, which scatter in a frenzy. With the help of a pack of skilled hunting dogs, no boar can escape. From the sorghum field, a dog caught a wild boar, causing it to let out piercing squeals. This field had been the most heavily ravaged by wild boars, with large swathes of sorghum flattened, resulting in immense losses. Not stopping there, the vehicle continued toward a field being tilled. The farmers here said their planting season was about to begin, so the wild boar population needed to be quickly reduced, otherwise, farming would be extremely challenging. While searching, Tom spotted a black wild boar darting past him. Immediately, he and his dogs gave chase. At a suitable distance, he finally took the shot. A perfect hit, the boar was brought down instantly. While searching, Tom spotted a black wild boar darting past him. Immediately, he and his dogs gave chase. At a suitable distance, he finally took the shot. A perfect hit, the boar was brought down instantly. The hunt for wild boars continues, as many are still hiding in these fields. Noticing the dogs chasing a boar, Tom quickly accelerates to follow. Fantastic! The dogs have caught another wild boar. The boars here aren't too large, weighing around 15 to 20 kg with mottled fur, yet they're remarkably agile. The group is thrilled, and amid the sounds of the boars, they eagerly cheer on the dogs. Right after, the team pursues more boars. The noises from the boar herd, mixed with the dogs barking, heighten the excitement in the air. Under the blazing sun, the farmers' determination doesn't waver. They strive to capture as many boars as possible. Afterward, they continue tracking other boar herds. However, it takes quite a while to spot them again. From a distance, the boars hear the commotion and start to flee. The dogs relentlessly scour the bushes and grassy patches. Eventually, they discover the dogs have caught a small, mottled boar. From the fields to the bushes and tall grass, the pack of dogs operated at full capacity, relentlessly catching wild boars without tiring. Truly, in this area, the dogs were the ultimate weapons in helping eliminate the wild boars. After taking down a good number of wild boars, the group decided to head home to rest and prepare for future hunts. They knew the wild boars would continue to breed and cause more damage. This posed a significant challenge for farmers and the government in finding sustainable solutions to control the wild boar population.
Wild boars are becoming a genuine menace across rural America. They ravage crops, attack livestock, and leave communities gripped by fear. Refusing to stand idly by, seasoned hunters have set out, armed to the teeth with a fierce resolve to wipe out these ferocious beasts. The clash between man and wild horde has begun. Who will emerge victorious in this high-stakes battle? Join us for the heart-stopping journey of the wild boar hunt, starting now. Join us as we embark on a journey into the rugged, untamed hills where wild boars roam, foraging and wreaking havoc. Fully equipped with rifles, flashlights, radios, and gear, the hunt for the feral pack kicks off amidst the majestic, yet perilous wilderness. Beneath the scorching sun on the hillside, I cautiously scanned every rustle around me. Down below, a beast was silently weaving through the parched underbrush. Stealthily closing in, I raised my rifle, steadied my grip, and waited for the perfect moment. The instant the target entered my crosshairs, I fired. The bullet flew true, striking the prey's flank, sending it skidding and writhing for a few seconds before it lay still. Almost simultaneously, my teammate spotted another dark shadow slinking away, trying to escape after witnessing its companion's downfall. Without a moment's hesitation, he raised his rifle, locked onto the target, and fired decisively. The bullet tore through the air, striking the fleeing prey. With a single shot, it crumpled to the ground, unable to resist, bringing a dramatic close to the thrilling chase. Pressing on toward the hill's crest, we were cautiously scanning the surroundings when out of nowhere, a beast charged at me, primed to attack. Without hesitation, I held my breath, raised my rifle, and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck true, dropping the animal in its tracks. The ground quivered briefly before silence reclaimed the air. This hunt on the hill ended with us triumphing over the untamed wild. stepping away from the rugged hills. Join us as we venture deep into a dense forest nearby. Thick with towering trees and treacherous terrain, this place demands a shift in tactics and gear to adapt to the new environment. Our hunting dogs are unleashed, scouring the surroundings for prey. We had only been threading through the dense forest canopy for a few minutes when danger suddenly struck. The hound's barks rang out urgently, full of warning. Something was closing in fast. A massive black shape burst from the thick undergrowth, charging straight at me as if to attack. With no time to think, I raised my rifle, locked onto the target, and pulled the trigger. A deafening shot shattered the forest silence. The prey collapsed heavily before me, instantly lifeless. Silently pressing deeper into the forest, the rustling of dry leaves ahead made me freeze. Instinct told me it was prey, so I quietly eased into an attack position. Just seconds later, as expected, a dark shape flashed across my line of sight. Seizing the moment, I swiftly raised my rifle aim true and fired. The bullet whistled through the air, and the prey skidded across the damp ground, collapsing motionless without a sound. After an arduous journey through treacherous hills and dense forests, we proved the mettle of seasoned hunters. This hunting trip was conducted in full compliance with legal regulations at a designated hunting area in the U.S. From the depths of the forest to the doorstep of homes, giant wild boars are becoming increasingly aggressive and audacious. They swarm into residential areas, ravaging crops, attacking livestock, and even threatening human lives. Facing this lurking danger, seasoned hunters are always ready to venture into perilous territory to restore peace to the countryside. But this is no easy hunt. Wild boars are not only powerful, but also cunning beyond expectation. This time, who will fall? Follow the heart-pounding pursuit in our video today, where every step could be a fight for survival. First, join us in the snow-covered hills of the American West, a place of harsh weather, treacherous terrain, and massive, ferocious wild boars lurking beneath thick layers of snow. Today's hunt has been meticulously prepared. Rifles, thermal binoculars, flashlights, cold-resistant clothing, and enough supplies for hours of enduring the bone-chilling cold. After about 20 minutes of trekking across the mountainside, we suddenly encountered a herd of wild boars darting through the barren trees. I swiftly raised my rifle, locking my sights on one of the boars. The shot hit its mark, and the target collapsed to the ground. Seizing the moment, I quickly fired again. The second bullet flew true, striking another boar in the side, dropping it instantly lifeless and unable to fight back. At the same moment, on the adjacent hillside, my teammate was tracking a boar struggling through the thick snow. A sharp crack echoed as the shot hit its mark, sending the boar tumbling down the slope. The air fell eerily silent. Victory on the snowy hills belonged to the skilled hunter. Leaving the snow-covered mountains behind, join us on a journey to the southern United States, the dense oak forests of Texas, where wild boars gather in herds notorious for their ferocity and unpredictability. Before entering the forest, we double-check our gear. Hunting rifles, binoculars, daggers, walkie-talkies, and backup camping equipment. Everything is ready. A new terrain, a new challenge, and the hunt begins anew. Venturing into the dry Texas forest, we suddenly spotted a wild boar charging through a cluster of decayed trees. I raised my rifle and fired, but the first shot only grazed it. Not letting the chance slip, I swiftly repositioned, cutting off the boar's path. The second shot rang out, striking true into its flank. The beast collapsed, completely subdued. Continuing to track other prey, I quickly noticed a lone boar ahead. I raised my rifle, squeezed the trigger, and the bullet flew, hitting the target dead on. The boar crashed to the ground, utterly drained of strength to resist. From a clearing in the distance, I spotted another wild boar foraging for food. I instantly raised my rifle, and the bullet shot out with blazing speed, embedding itself into the beast's body. It leaped off the ground, tumbled a few times, then collapsed amid the dry leaves, silenced before it could make a sound. Another target taken down. Not stopping there, after moving for about 10 minutes, amid the golden grass, a dark shadow silently emerged from the edge of the forest, seemingly scouting for food. I quietly raised my rifle, adjusted my aim, and fired. The sharp crack of the shot echoed as the bullet tore through the air, striking the beast's head. It froze, then collapsed onto the bed of decayed leaves. The hunt concluded, and once again, victory did not belong to the wild. The pursuit of these formidable creatures ended with precise, thrilling shots. Seasoned hunters showcased their prowess against the stubborn evasion of the boar herd. The entire expedition strictly adhered to legal hunting regulations in permitted areas.
Ay, kayo.
For me, this trip was more than just a regular hunt. It was a life or death mission. Although I fought, trained, and faced countless dangers during my time in the military, I've never encountered a creature as tough and persistent as the wild boars. That's why, in today's hunt, this swamp environment became a true battlefield. Holding my rifle tightly, I understood one thing clearly: every decision, every shot must be precise. One bullet, one life. That's the only rule I needed to follow. Swamp-dwelling wild boars not only destroy the ecosystem, but also cause immeasurable damage to the surrounding environment. They wade through wetland areas, disrupt plant life, and tear up rice fields and gardens. Especially in the swamp, wild boars can easily hide and escape, making them incredibly difficult to pursue. Compared to land hunting, hunting wild boars in the swamp requires us to move more slowly and patiently, or risk slipping or losing our bearings. The swamp, a challenging environment, is ironically the perfect place for wild boars to hide, especially in murky mud pools or thick vegetation. During the journey through the swamp, we constantly battled strong currents and had to duck under tangled branches to keep the boat from crashing. Eventually, a small boat brought us to a completely unfamiliar area. Suddenly, one of my teammates spotted the silhouette of a large wild boar. Without hesitation, we climbed ashore and fired as soon as we saw it. The boar collapsed after a single shot. Soon after, we locked onto our next target, a giant boar weighing up to 120 kilograms. It was clear that this land was the ideal habitat for these monstrous wild pigs. That afternoon, I traveled alone down the river. The current had calmed since the morning. From a distance, I spotted my first target, a boar soaking in the mud. I carefully approached. Just as it stood up to flee, I took my shot and brought it down within seconds. Muddy wetlands like this are never short of boar activity. A fully grown wild boar was sunbathing nearby. It sensed danger and started to run, but my two quick shots aimed at escape for good. Spotting a boar trying to escape, I stopped the boat and set up an ambush to cut it off. It panicked and turned to flee in the opposite direction, but it was too late. The gunshots echoed through the empty swamp, ending its escape. Leaving the forest and heading downstream to return, I noticed small muddy patches, clear signs that boars had passed through. I moved in and there it was. Without hesitation, I pulled the trigger. The wild boar let out one agonizing cry before collapsing. With success in hand, I headed home, tension and satisfaction mixing after a challenging day in the swamp. After a night's rest, we were back at the swamp early in the morning. Wild boar tracks were visible all over the soft ground, deep prints showing where they had passed. We followed the tracks, and suddenly the dogs began barking, signaling the prey was near. I approached cautiously. As the black silhouette emerged, I seized the moment and pulled the trigger. Wow, just look at it, a massive wild boar with coarse fur and razor-sharp tusks. Our next target that day was a group of tenacious boars hiding in a swamp near a residential area. It didn't take long. The airboat brought us right to the first target. We immediately launched our attack, giving the boars no chance to react. They scattered in panic in every direction, trying to escape, but there was no getting away from our determined pursuit. Our hunting results kept piling up, and with every step, it became clear this hunt was not only tactical but also a test of patience and determination in our effort to control the wild boar population. Time flew by, and before we knew it, evening had fallen, but the battle wasn't over yet. Our agile hunting dogs led us to another wild boar. I moved in and, without hesitation, fired a decisive shot. The target dropped instantly. The dogs were outstanding today. Once again, they guided us to another boar. I quickly aimed and fired. The boar didn't even have time to react. It fell without a sound. It seems my skills have improved a lot through these hunting trips. These precise, decisive shots are not only the result of experience, but also the perfect blend of keen observation, patience, and refined tactics. Thank you for following this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.